All right, here we are. It's a cool world after all, am I right?
Has been chilly actually.
It has actually been fucking freezing here in
Yeah, it's
Perth.
been cold.
Last couple of days.
Yeah.
How you going, Dill?
Good. How are you?
Took a sip at the wrong time. Asked you a question and then I took a sip, but
You were expecting a longer answer.
yes, I was. Yeah, a little bit more girth today. It's good.
I have got girth.
Well, it's been 10 days since the debut.
Now that, yeah.
Yeah, first podcast ever. Mm-hmm. How did you go? How did you feel watching it back? Was it weird?
No, it actually wasn't, which was surprising. That was one thing that I thought it would. I thought I'd watch back and cringe, find it real cringy, and I didn't, which was surprising. I was happy with that. And I mean, the response in general has been good. I got multiple messages from good mates of ours that saw it, liked what we did, and were excited for the next one. So that's all positive, and that it feels good.
That's cool. Like, I noticed because I run the Instagram page that a lot of the follows we got were your friends. And it's like, well, fuck, I might just chop liver. Like, oh, Jess is starting a third podcast.
My last name is in the title, though.
True, yeah. That's the draw card, yeah. But I thought it was good. We had some technical issues. Like in the first one, the lighting was shit. I think we fixed that now. It looks pretty good from what I can see now. Got a bit of a light box set up. We got some furniture in the place.
Yep.
So on a little bar stool sort of thing.
Yes.
Which is an upgrade from the couches, which are now on the balcony.
Yep.
So I got a little nook going here. Bush. Sorry.
Am I bush? No, yeah, it's a bit of a vibe around here. We've got plenty of plants. I went a bit nuts with the plants, but I mean, they make oxygen, so it's
fucking. Why wouldn't you?
It's not bad.
You do have a lot of plants around here.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've turned to a bit of a plant dad, to be honest. But
like, you were trying to offload something to me as well. You're like, do you need some plants for your room?
it's a vibe. Just
It is good. It is good. I'm glad you're like that because I'm not really a very into vibe, but I'm also enjoying what you've done with the place.
Yeah,
like it is a nice little place now.
Yeah,
I'm not very like that way inclined to
I find it's related to clothing. I like my clothes and I like my fashion, and I think like interior designing is very similar to that, and that's sort of how I saw it. And like when we walked in, except for the position of like the couch and like the lounge room, I didn't have that. That was actually my dad's idea. So shout out to him. But as far as the balcony goes, how it is with a section where it's got couches, like plants around it, a little table to sort of sit down. Then we have the bar on the other side. We can sort of look at the river and the city and that, and have a few drinks. That was like what I envisioned when we first walked into the place. So it turned out good like that. I'm happy with how it turned out, and it's pretty much how I imagined it.
Yeah, it is good. Like it's a strange place, but it was also really nice here, where it's like 30% of the property is almost our balcony.
The balcony is huge. It's the entire length. Area. It's the entire length of the apartment.
Yeah,
and it's literally probably like maybe a fourth, and then there's 2 fourths which create sort of the kitchen living area, and then another fourth is sort of our bedroom, which we're in line, and we share a very thin wall.
You said our bedroom, like singular.
2 bedrooms, our bedrooms.
How funny was it when we did the first inspection here, and there's like other people walking around looking to see whether they were going to apply for this place, and then you and I walked into the bathroom, and I was like loudly, I was like, "Do you reckon we could both fit in here?"
I hated that. I really did.
Yeah, you didn't rate that.
I hated every second of that.
But I reckon it helped us get this place. They're like, a couple of just young, handsome gays, like young professional gays.
They both thought like diversity for like the complex. Like it's really good. It's 2020. Like let's pride. Let's get them involved. But I think what also helped is that we were also the last ones to leave. We stayed back and we talked to the agent for a long time. Yeah. And she was the one that gave us a tip to put on an extra $10, and we'll definitely get the place.
Yeah, we were the cucks that fell for that.
Yeah, so we put on extra $10. So she's good at their job, I guess.
No, it was good. Like you and I both needed a place really quickly.
Yep.
And you more so than me because your lease was up. And this is the place we wanted to get.
Yeah, so. I like it. I can't see myself moving after this. Obviously, if I buy something, but I want to be here for a long time. Even if like you transition and move out, I feel like I'd be happy to stay and sort of take over the load of the rent. I really like it here, and I want to. Yeah, right. I've been in Perth for 6 years, and I've moved house every year.
Yeah, right.
I haven't been in a place for more than a year.
Were you only at Murdoch for 1 year?
Only 1 year, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I was there for 3 years.
Yeah, I was only there for 1.
Yeah.
And I just got a bit over it. Like I've never really had a home here, so I wanted to create something that was mine and like had my taste and my vibe with it. So. That's what this place is for me, so I like it.
Working from home as well? How are you liking it so far?
Good.
In this place?
Good. Yeah, I like working from home. Obviously, you save all that time you spend on commuting, you save. So you spend that sleeping, you can sleep in for longer, or it just means that when 5 o'clock hits, I like to get my bike, and we got the river just there, so I like to ride up and down the river. I do that for an hour, I come back at 6. If I was working in the city, I'd probably get home at around 6.
Yeah.
So by working at home, I get to sleep in longer, and I get a bike ride in the same time period that what it would take me to get to work and then come back.
That's interesting. See, having known you for 6 years, I would have always pegged you as a fairly like extroverted person, but everything you just described then is kind
Pretty
of like
introverted.
introverted in the sense that you, like for me, I feel like I'm introverted, but even I think I would struggle working from home long term,
Sure.
like without it's like socially isolating.
Yeah.
And like I kind of crave the social side of Bunnings. I think that's a big part of why I really like working there.
Yeah.
So you don't get like that? You don't feel like I need to interact with people? I suppose you have me, but I work
I'm home alone for the majority of the day. I think as I've gotten older, I've grown to like my own company.
Okay.
I definitely don't think I could have done this younger, but then I think maybe studying maybe helped out, like going to uni and locking yourself away in your room a couple of days a week and doing all that. But I still go to the office 2 days a week, it makes it more social because when you're there, you don't see everybody every single day. So when you're there, you're more inclined to chat more.
Yeah.
You're more inclined, like days in the office are a lot more fun now because they're more rare. But in terms of my team and the department that I'm in, like we have business for Skype, which is how like our phone calls work. Like I'm Skype messaging like the other 2 young dudes in my team. Like we still communicate a lot. There's a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of like messages back and forth on Skype. So ever since before you pointed that out, I didn't think about it, and once you pointed that out, I sort of noticed it. But yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for me, I am just coming out of a 4-year relationship, so I'm actually not used to having that much time to myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's actually one of the harder things you have to adjust to. Like, you know where you went to Gero last week?
Yes.
Weekend? I had the weekend here by myself. Found it very, very
Hard, yeah?
Yeah, like, I don't know if I say hard, it's dramatic, but I was just like, fuck, I hate this.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
I need to go do something. And I don't even remember if I did. I think I went to bed at like 9:30 on a Saturday night.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I was very aware, like, I'm sick of being by myself
Yeah.
already. So I wonder if it's like, because you're a single man, like whether you're just kind of used to that.
Maybe, yeah,
Maybe it's just sort of habit.
and have been for a while. But I get what you're saying. Like weekends, I wouldn't like being here on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
By myself. Like that's where I would feel it. That's where I'd feel like I need to have somebody over, or I need to go somewhere. But in terms of the work day, like there's so much going on within my work day that I'm busy anyway.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I don't feel that. But if I had nothing on and nothing to do, then I would definitely feel that way.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So maybe it's because I'm busy. I don't know.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Cool. So
How have just to throw your question back at you, how was your response, or how did you find?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I probably didn't have quite the same sort of people reach out, just because I've been in this game a little bit longer. So people are like, oh yeah, okay, doing a new podcast. But I mean, I am grateful to the people that jumped on just by liking the thing. A lot of people watched it. Like the last time I looked was like 150 views. And when you first start a channel or a podcast with no context, like, you don't know what to expect. It could have been 20 views. Like I've seen channels start with like 5, 10 views. So 150 is that's a massive win actually. And yeah, some very positive words. Drewsy's watched it. A few of our mates have watched it. Backyard Charizard's watched it.
Yeah. Nice guy seems. I've met him, but he seems really cool.
He's cool. He's actually literally a dad. And he makes like YouTube videos, does live streams and stuff. But he's actually super supportive of all the other creators as well.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, he's
That's
a
cool.
sick bloke. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Probably one of the best names I've heard, Backyard Charizard.
Yeah.
Like that is it rolls up the tongue, it rhymes, like it hits the young demographic with the Pokemon reference. Like it's a cool name. So
yeah,
shout out to him for creating that name, because that's creative. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a
He's
big
a
fan
good
of that.
dude. I'll have to get him on the potty. The True Footy podcast. I've been talking about it for ages. But I'm going to get him on. So,
For sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I was actually on another podcast though since then. So I've cheated on us. I've done 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
With 2 other podcasts in the last week. So I'm getting
You're a bit of a dog.
I'm a bit of a podcast fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a guest on Jamo and Dylan pod. So there's just a couple of dudes who live out sort of like Goslin's way.
Cool.
Which is a fucking long way from where we are.
Yeah.
I mean, Druzy drives 40 minutes to hang out with us, but for me driving 35 I was like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, but I made my way there. Sick chat. But they kind of stitched me up with the title.
They did.
I did tell you about this,
They
didn't I?
did.
Yeah. So
Let's talk about that.
yeah, no hard feelings because it is funny, but massive stitch up. So the podcast is about me growing up overseas. They found that kind of interesting. We talked about True Footy. I'm a Perth creator, so that was along those lines. The last 10 minutes of the pod, they take questions from their listeners, which is sick because what I noticed as well, they get a lot of female viewers call in, or listeners. So that's cool. Like, it's one thing to be relatable to young men, but to have like young girls listen to the pod,
And just engagement in general.
Yeah, I think that's actually a massive like feather in their cap. Like that's sick. But anyway, so they call in, and in this instance, like they were just giving scenarios, and in this particular instance, it was about a story where a guy had heard that a girl had gone to sleep at a party. I don't know if she was drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend was at the party. Okay. And then, according to the story, another bloke, the mate of the boyfriend, goes up, starts spooning her, and then they have sex. Okay. The girlfriend then claimed she thought it was her boyfriend, but it was the other bloke. So the question was, is she full of it? I was inclined to think yes. Okay. That's all very well and good. That part lasted about 90 seconds of the entire pod.
And it was the tail end, right?
Yeah.
So you had spoken for how long?
Like an hour.
And it was maybe a 5-minute snippet at the tail end of an hour.
Yeah. And the podcast is titled "Slept with the Wrong Person" with True Footy.
Yeah, that's bad.
That is a stitch up. Like, it's funny because I poured the cold water on and I immediately put, "This does not refer to me." I don't know how many of my family and friends, or God forbid my ex-girlfriend, has read that. So yeah, if you're watching this, it's not what it looks like. But no, great lads. I had a great time. So
yeah, no, sounds good. And it is a bit of a stitch up, but always good to be creating with other creators. I see creating too many times in that sentence.
Yeah.
Collaborating is probably a better way to say it.
Yeah.
But I think that's always good, and it seems like you've really got your finger on the pulse as far as the YouTube scene in Perth, which is dope. So kudos to you.
Oh, thanks,
you
man.
Podcast slut.
Thanks, dude. No, it is sick just meeting like-minded people. I found that pretty much everyone I've met who does YouTube or podcasts or something, we click pretty quickly, and I think it's just you're like-minded.
They're a lot younger though, aren't they?
Some of them are. So Druzy is. Those boys are younger than me. Yeah, I guess by 26, most people have their lives fucking their shit together. Whereas
I wouldn't say that. Maybe they're limiting what they might do. And I think in this day and age, in our generation, your options are way more open at 26 than what they were previously.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference. I don't know if it's because your life isn't together, because you have a good job, you've got a cool little YouTube career which could turn into your main career.
I've done the uni thing, but
for sure. And a very good degree.
Yeah. So law and marketing I did, for those who don't know. But I think for me, I just discovered what I want to do a little bit later.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys were sort of not lucky, but I guess lucky in a sense. Like, it's sick to realize what you want to do at like 19 or 20.
Sure.
And have this really cool thing. I wish I'd been 19 when I found out about this sort of world.
Well, it wasn't like this though. It wasn't this sort of scene then.
True.
I think it's hard to relate to what it was like when we were 19, because I mean, you made videos when you were very young. Like, how young were you putting those first lot of YouTube videos together?
Fuck, you could probably trace
16?
it back to me about 16.
16?
Yeah.
See, I was just not a computer kid. It was just like, because I was so poor at like reading, writing, and all that kind of stuff. I just stuck to being outside, and I just like. People talk about like going on MSN when they were younger. I didn't even do that.
Didn't you?
I'd never an MSN account because I couldn't converse well enough through typing and just basically through words, like words on a page, or a screen. I just couldn't do it at that age.
Because you were dyslexic if people hadn't watched the first.
Yeah. So I struggled with all that. So I literally was just an outside kid. Never went on computers. Never had like a game console growing up.
Yeah.
I got my first PlayStation was like one that I bought when I moved to Perth.
Wow.
When all you boys had them, so like I went and bought one then. But like I kind of wish that I did get on that kind of stuff like YouTube and that. I wish I had like funny videos of me being 16.
Yeah.
But they just don't exist because I just didn't do that.
Yeah. True. Yeah. It's funny because like I've said this before on the pod, but like people who now know that I do YouTube, who knew me a long time ago, would see that I'm on YouTube and be like, oh, that makes sense. I always saw that about you. But I went through this phase where I was like really insecure, sort of in my late teens, early 20s. And there's this phase in my life where I never would have touched it. But it's funny how life's come full circle. Like when I was 14, I was like you almost, like maybe not quite as confident, but like I was like super outgoing, would be the class clown. And that's something I really shied away from later. And you can see it in my videos, and you can see on that video when, even in uni when I made that fake speech.
Yeah.
So like,
that was ripper.
my life is littered with little stuff like that. So it is funny how things like sort of come full circle.
Around.
But you're right in that like things are different for the younger generation. Like, I don't know if it's strictly true, but like I don't know if it's statistically backed up, but they say like most kids, the dream job these days is being a YouTuber or a content creator, whereas back in our day it was like
football,
fireman, footballer, yeah, exactly,
professional athlete,
an actor. So like that's probably replaced actor as the cool dream job. Yeah, and the other side of that as well is also like the accessibility of it, both from the perspective of the creator and the viewer. So like from the creative side, anyone can make a YouTube channel. So you don't have to put in the hard yards to get noticed, to actually go to an acting school, to have courage to the same point. And then on the demand side, like the viewer, then you've got those regular touch points every week. If there's daily content as well, then that's far more stimulating than say a TV show that comes out, once a year. Obviously that's going to still have the effect. People will still watch TV, but it's not quite the same as having it every single day or week.
It will never be replaced. But I think another big drawing card is, as a YouTuber, working for yourself, being your own boss, uploading your own videos, compared to being in this cutthroat industry where, I mean, no one hears good things about the movie industry. Like, it's movies and music. Like, it's two of the most cutthroat industries.
True.
And to be a YouTube creator, like, it's so different to that. Like, you don't have to deal with those auditions. You don't have to deal with, like, just that cutthroat that seems to stem through those industries. So
True.
I think that's a big draw card as well.
Yeah, that definitely is attractive. Yeah. How do we get talking about this?
I don't know. I feel like we've rambled a bit. But
that's all right.
That's why we started the podcast, so we could just talk.
Yeah, true.
And now you say, like, this is on camera, but these conversations are much longer off camera.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what she said. I'm just going to cut that.
What is that even?
It's much longer off camera. I've heard that one before.
Oh, right.
Yeah, anyway, so getting back to a little bit what we're talking about. Jamon and Dylan podcast. Yeah.
So it's Dylan as well?
Just snap back to it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they really copied our format, even though they started a year before us.
Yeah, I mean, I was born first, so I don't know.
Yeah, actually true, you are older.
I'm an original Dylan.
True, Jesse and Dylan.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of wanted to talk about with them is because they asked me an interesting question that I've asked before because I've stolen it from True Geordie. True Geordie is the OG of this question. But I thought it was an interesting podcast topic that we could do for episode 2 while we're still introducing ourselves to the audience as well, particularly you. Good question that True Geordie asks at the end of every pod to his guests, or most of his guests, is how would you like to be remembered? So, Dylan, how would you like to be remembered?
Such a loaded question, isn't it? It's hard to answer, but I feel like the things that I would want to be remembered by are all intangible. I don't think there's tangible things that I would want people to look at. Like, I wouldn't. It's not about me starting a company or like doing things like that. Like, the things that I really like, or a weird one was in footy for my Colts year, locally in Gelton, I won the best and fairest one year, and that meant a lot to me because what happens is they have these like big. I want to call them glass, but they might not be glass. It might just like be that plastic stuff. I don't know what it's called. Perspex.
Yeah,
It's like that. And they have the best and fairest and they engrave it on there. And when I won best and fairest, the first thing I thought of is no matter how long I die, or how long I've been since I've died, my name is always going to be on that wall forever. It will never be taken off unless they knock down the building. But because for me as a person, when I go to a new club, the first thing I do is I walk up to the honour board and I'll read from like ridiculous years, like the best and fairest. I just like doing it, and I know that if there's a kid that's like me that walks into that club room, they will eventually read out my name, and that means something to me. Like that holds value.
Okay.
But I think the things that I would like to be remembered by is, like I said, intangibles. So like kind, a good person, outgoing, funny. Like I want people to look back on my characteristics and appreciate those more than say things that I've necessarily done, which like, you know, if you start a company and things like that, like I don't think that's important. I feel like the intangibles of what made me as a being would be more important to me.
Yeah.
But how did you answer it?
I kind of gave a shit answer because I wasn't expecting it. So I kind of gave the, and it wasn't really the sort of question where it was like, they really wanted a deep and meaningful answer because it was the final question of the pod. So
Sure.
I kind of just said, I want to be remembered as a good person. But, you know, it's a very vague thing to say.
Yeah.
I think if I could delve into it a little more specifically, I guess, like, I don't know, as a kid, like, I had parents that sort of built me up a lot. So, and then I did like taekwondo and played sports and I was pretty good at the sports at that age.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of sort of achievements, like I did well in taekwondo.
Their expectation of you was
Yeah,
high?
yeah, like they didn't, not in a bad way.
No, it's because they knew what you were capable of and
Yeah.
they expected that out of you.
And they really sort of built up my self-esteem. But I reckon I kind of had the second, and the opposite effect.
Interesting, because I was about to say I had a different sort of upbringing where obviously I struggled a lot at school, and as a kid, school is such a big thing in your life. Like, think about when you're like, you know, year 3, year 4, like if something happens at school, like that's going to negatively affect you, like that feels like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And I struggled so much at school that I feel like what happened to me is I learnt early on that I wasn't going to be the best at everything.
Okay.
And my parents sort of used that and sort of like helped me focus on things that I was good at, and also just really put into me like, all we care about is that you try your best. If you can come back and look us in the eye and tell us that I failed this test, but I literally gave it my all, like they were never going to be upset with that. So I really went into life with like no expectation on me. Like the only expectation that I had was what I put on myself, and it's kind of been like that my whole life, which is sort of opposite to what it seems like you had.
Yeah, that's right. So like for me, I think, like I said, my parents kind of built me up, and I think the effect it had on me was like maybe at a surface level I believed in myself, but then occasionally when I'd have like a knockback, or a setback, it would challenge the belief that I was good at stuff.
Interesting.
And after a while, I just stopped believing my parents about it, and it actually had the opposite effect where I started thinking like I stopped being able to take people building me up, and I don't know, I became a very pessimistic, negative.
What sort of age?
Early,
bracket are we
like
looking at?
preteen, so like maybe anywhere between like 9 and 13.
Sure.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is like I became kind of like a anxious kid who just didn't rate himself and stuff like that. So this is a very long-winded way of answering your question. The things that like made me anxious or were concerns for me as a kid, being insecure about stuff, like how good I was at stuff, or like not understanding stuff, that's made me very empathetic to anyone who might feel the same way. So one thing that I've endeavored to be my whole life is someone who people are comfortable around. And like, if somebody doesn't understand something, so when I was a kid, one of the worst feelings in the world, and I'm sure you and other people relate to this, is not getting something or not being good at something and feeling humiliated by it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
sure,
like
sure.
in that you get that cold sweat, like you're like, everyone can see that I'm shit at this.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling, and in my role, at work and stuff like that, I'm a supervisor, so I do a lot of teaching and coaching, and I really enjoy that side of things. And I guess the person I'd like to be remembered by is someone people were always super comfortable around and enjoyed being around, and never someone who fed off somebody's insecurity, the exact opposite.
Sure.
So that's probably my biggest value.
I know exactly what you mean for that, because you can imagine, like in school, and I'm sure you've had this situation as well, you would do like a reading portion of the day where everyone with the same book, and you would go around and each person would take a chance at reading a few sentences.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking read. So when it come to me, it was like horrible.
Yeah.
Like it was, my head used to feel like it would like go to like 100 degrees. Like it was intense. And I used to pretend that I didn't know what line we were on, just so someone would say the word so that I could know the word and then move on.
Yeah.
But that was, so I understand that. But then I just feel like I just went through that at such a young age, and it was such a normal for me that I just
Yeah.
I just got to a stage where I really just didn't give a fuck anymore. I was just so fine with it.
Yeah.
And it also came to a stage, I was actually, my mum's a teacher, and it's funny because she tells this story to people that are working that. But my one time to shine at school was sport. Like it was whenever we were playing sport, and obviously being Australia, it's either football or basketball. Those are the typical sort of, and cricket, I suppose. Those are the typical sports that you play within your PE lesson. And I remember the girls that were really intelligent but maybe not as athletically gifted used to always sit out at sport, like not contribute, not want to play, and like that, the teachers used to let them just sit on the sideline.
Yeah.
And I remember I was about year 3, and I was pissed off, like, because one of the girls used to give me shit for not being able to read, and wanted to sit out for this lesson. And I went up to my teacher and I just said like this is bullshit. Like, when we have reading lessons, when we have like a maths test, when we have an English test, can I just say I don't want to do this and sit off on the side? Like, I need to struggle through that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to do that shit. But everyone makes me go through it and struggle through this.
Yeah.
Like, what gives her the right to, like, this is my time now. What gives her the right to be able to sit out? Like, she's going to come on and she's going to be on the opposite team to me, and I'm like, this is my time to fucking show her, like, to beat her.
Yeah.
And
almost like it devalues what you're good at versus
exactly.
what she's
And like,
good at.
and they used to treat it like, and ever since I said that, like, the teachers were always behind me. And like, no, everyone's playing. It's a sport. Like, you need, like, it's a subject. You have to do it. Like, it's mandatory. But yeah, I think it sucked, obviously. But later on in life, I really appreciated the shit that I went through like that. It just built this level, and maybe that's why I feel like a confident person now, is because, like, there's going to be things that you're not good at, and you're just going to fucking cop it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's probably something, I'm still sort of working through as well. Would you say you've kind of become more compassionate to other people like that because of what you are like? So, like, for instance, you said you struggled with, like, reading or something like that. Do you think, like, you're very empathetic to other people who are like that as well?
For sure, yeah, 100%. But I think my parents did a good job at raising me to be a kind person. So I was never like a kid. I was never someone that bullied anybody, and I'm confident enough to say that on a forum that's going to be put out to anybody, because I don't think anybody could ever come forward and say he bullied me at school. Yeah, because I literally didn't, and I was. Gelton's a weird place where the popularity scale literally goes off how good you are at sport. Yeah. It's just, that's very common. Yeah, it's small country vibes. Like that is what it is. And because I was like, I used to win the 100 and 200 meter races at school and all that kind of stuff. I was like the fastest boy in my year, and I don't know why, but that seemed to be like a big thing when you're younger. I never had an issue with bullies, but a lot of kids did, and no one could ever put me down as one of those people. So my parents did a good job at always like raising us that way. My mum's very empathetic. She's a teacher's assistant, but she originally focused on a special needs school, and now she works with like kids that have really bad behavioural issues. So she's empathetic in that way and can understand kids and relate to them and empathise with them. And then my dad, he went through some rough stuff growing up. Doesn't have the best of parents, had a pretty abusive dad, his dad was an alcoholic. So his whole like goal in life was to have a family and be the father that he always wished he had. So I have really loving parents in that sense. So I think long-winded answer, but they did a good job. So for sure. I was always empathetic. I didn't have to go through that to understand, to be empathetic to people. It's really interesting when you find parents who had shit parents themselves. It can really go to a way, like one of two ways. There's the half that will literally just become the father that they had. And that's probably more common, I would say. Yeah, probably. And then you have the other, so your dad, and then I would say probably my mum as well, are people who overcame having shocking parents to being the most like loving, compassionate people. Like would you say that your dad is the really loving one? Yes. Like, so the dynamic in my family is different in that sense. I get my soft and affectionate love from my dad, and my hard, stern love comes from my mum. My mum is like the hard ass. My mum's like the one that you watch out for. My dad, you could like talk him into anything. Yeah. Like if you just say like, Dad, I'm struggling, I need this, like he will bend over backwards for that. Yeah. And it's funny, like the first time I ever saw him cry or ever heard him cry was I think I was about 18, 19, and I think we're having like a beer, And at that stage, when I first turned 18, like having a beer with him was like a big deal. I used to really love that. So every time he used to come home, like me and him would go away and would have a beer together. And it would be this like real nice moment. But typically, like my family, like the last name that I carry, like there's not many good people with that last name. Like they're not very nice people. And that's why my dad has kept us pretty separated from that side. So I definitely affiliate with my mum's side more.
Yeah.
We don't hang around really, like my grandparents from my dad's side, we don't see them that often. My dad has a brother, but there's a lot of like tension and like they didn't really grow up together, so a lot of shit went on. But I remember I just said to my dad, just a general conversation, I just said like, I just said like, Dad, it's funny, like your whole goal was to have a family and be the father that you always wish you had, and to develop like children, in particular he wanted boys, like young men, to be like how you want them to be and to be good fathers, and like you wanted to give us that. And for a person, like a lot of people don't achieve their goals, but like I sit here right now and like I couldn't think of a better father. Like you've done that, and you've defied the biggest odds out of them all, because he so could have easily just been an alcoholic. He so could have fallen down the same trends that it seems like every man on my dad's side does, and he somehow like was different, which is so hard to be in this world. Is different. Like you can follow the sheep, you can follow the herd, but to be truly different, which he was, like he's the black sheep in his family, and thank fuck, because then I don't want to be a part of that. Yeah. And he broke down, and he like started crying, and like he'd never heard that. He'd worked so hard to do it, but never thought he would ever get there. And I think to hear his son say it to him, I think it meant a lot. So
how old were you when you said that?
I want to say about 19. I mean, I was having a beer with him, so I don't think it was 18. I think it was about 19.
Yeah. That's nice that you had the courage to say that to your dad, because a lot of people like will go through their lives and not say the things that they should have.
But that's in relation to the way that he raised us with the soft love. Like he was always really open about our emotions.
Yeah.
To talk about our emotions. There was no shame in crying as us. Like he would never say, "You're a man up." Like that was not a thing for us. It was like if you felt sad and you needed to get that out, like he would be there for you, and he would want you to show that emotion.
Yeah.
So that's why when it comes to those moments, I am really open with him to be able to say that, because I know what you mean. There is a pride sense that might get in the way of some men saying that to their fathers, but I had no issues, and I still have no issues. Like I'm completely open with them.
Yeah.
So that's also like a feather in his cap further to sure. how he's done this.
Yeah, I'm big, as you can imagine, on saying things while you can, because a lot of people just don't get around to it, and then like the time runs out. Like my mum passed away, as you know, so like obviously in the 12 months maybe after that happened, or even just like immediately after, you start to fixate on the things that you could have said and never did. And I've changed as well in my ways. Like I've become probably closer with my dad than ever. Yeah. In the sense that, you know, you just never know if you're ever going to get.
And you went through some shit. Like that builds bonds.
It does, true. And it was good because my dad obviously lived overseas so I obviously went to high school over there, came back for uni, and then for 6 years I was at uni and he lived in another country. Both my parents lived in another country. So yeah, it was good because then obviously after mum passed, he flew back here and we lived together for 2 years, literally up until last week when we moved in here. So yeah, we've become very close. And yeah, obviously that's a nice sort of upside to it, because at 23 or 24, most people don't have the chance to sort of live again with their dad. And like it was a little, not bachelor pad because I had a misso, but yeah, like it was a unique opportunity to sort of be an adult and hang out with my dad all the time.
And I think that's also a really cool thing in life, is to like these people around you will raise you, and then there'll come a stage where you'll never be equal to them, but you are equal. You're adults and you make your own decisions, and I feel like that's a cool thing as well. Like I really appreciate that, being able to be a man with my dad and and being two men that can just. And like he will always be the superior, like whatever he says will always still go, but it's nice to be able to relate to each other at a level that only adults can. Yeah,
that's true. I got a sick relationship with my dad. Yeah. Like I'm like really grateful for that. And the other cool thing about like being a video creator is like, you saw that video I did on True Footy about mum and the Eagles in the grand final and stuff like that. Obviously talk about my relationship with dad as well. So like that, and I know he watched it and I think he enjoyed it, but like it's cool that I've got that to document and like express exactly what that day meant to him, like to me, because like obviously it's hard to say that in person. It just is like sometimes, you know, when you're having dinner or something like that, it's hard to just be like, hey,
Yeah.
that 2018 grand final meant the world to me.
Yeah,
Or so,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
stuff like that. So,
No, I agree. I know what you're saying.
yeah. But, yeah, my dad, like, would you say you're similar to your dad in personality? Like,
Yeah.
for me, my dad is funny where you'd think he's straight edge in a lot of ways. So, like, very conservative upbringing. Not super. He's a bit silly with his jokes, but not like me. You know what I'm like with my these nuts jokes and stuff like that. Yeah. The thing that I really appreciate about my dad is that I can be really, really dumb and silly and say nuts, like these nuts jokes and stuff like that. And my dad fucking loves it.
Yeah.
Which is so sick because I don't know anyone who likes my jokes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, I introduced him to saying, like, you know, this thing I do where I like every sentence ends with these nuts and like, yeah. So once I got him, I told that to him. He thought it was fucking hilarious. And then one day we were talking about the show The Witcher, and he goes, which one of my nuts do you prefer? I fucked that up, but you get the point.
Yeah,
so like my
yeah.
dad just dropped.
You butchered it, but I get the joke.
Yeah. So
Did he nail it?
Yeah, he nailed it. Yeah. I didn't fuck up on purpose. No, but the point I'm making is like, I'm a quirky dude, as you know, like a strange dude, and it's just, I don't know, one thing I really appreciate my dad is that he totally gets it. So last week I did the Manscaped ad, because we just got like a little trial sponsorship with True Footy to sponsor the pod.
Plug it.
Yeah, use the code True Footy, all caps, all one word, if you want manscaped.com products. I'll leave the link in the description, all that. But yeah, anyway, no, my dad fucking loved it. Like, I literally watched it with him and he was in tears laughing. And
yeah.
I don't know, I'm really glad I don't have a dad that just thinks I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Or at least he thinks I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
But
that's
loves it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. What about your dad? Are you bandsy with him?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think
your dad is like, I will say, I've met him for 5 minutes, but all the things I've heard, he's like one of the most supportive, compassionate people.
Yeah, he really is. He
like,
really is.
For instance, all I know about, well, no, not the only thing, but from what I've seen, he drove you back from Gerald with all your furniture that's his, helped you set it up. And then even as he's walking out the door, he's like, yeah, here's my KO password. Like, you can use this, watch the NBA all the time. I don't know, like, I've only...
And then he went to go pick up some loop pedals from my brother.
Yeah.
To then drive back and...
Geraldton's far, man. It's fucking 5 hours away.
Yeah, it's a 5-hour drive, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to answer your question, we are very similar. And it's funny because my mum calls me, my dad's name's Clayton, but my family call him Clay. My mum calls me Clay very often.
Really?
Because we walk the same, we have the same sort of stance. Like there's a photo of us family at my sister's Year 12 ball, and me and Dad are by chance standing next to each other. And I literally cropped it, and I cropped our heads out and just put our bodies in, and I sent it to my dad. And it was literally like the way our arms were held, the way our hands were. It was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was just a younger, slightly bit taller version. But I mean, even when I go to like big family events, or obviously all from my mum's side, family events, everyone says that like I'm my dad at the same age and all that kind of stuff. I think the only difference is I also got traits of my mum. So I think
around the eyes.
Yeah, and I think I look like my dad in terms of my physique and the way I stand, and he was also a very good footballer. He was also, we had that same attributes of like being explosive and all that kind of stuff. But then I think I got like, you know, like my mum's eyes and things like that. But I also got like, my mum's super determined. My mum is like that lady, like, I mean, 50 years old, and she just became I don't know if it's registered or whatever it is, but she became a qualified yoga instructor.
Yeah, okay.
At 50. She decided to go through this full study period where they have to do, I think it's like 30 hours of study, which to me resembles the move that I made from being a carpenter, dropping out of school early to then going, fuck it, I want to go to uni. Like taking that leap and not, like, I wasn't concerned about being a mature age and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, she's still at 50 years old, is bettering herself. And they're things that I look at and I go like, damn, that's cool. Like, damn, that, like, I want to continue doing that. Like, I did that when I was, 19, 20. I want to do it again. Like, I don't ever want to stop. I always want to keep pushing myself and developing it. And my dad's just not that person. Like, he's not career driven. He just wants to work, to be able to come home to his family. And he works to live. I like to live for my work. I like to be passionate about what I do. My dad likes to go to work, not care, get it done so we can go home and the money can be for us and he can do things with us. So Similar with my dad physically. I feel like mentally I'm probably more like my mum.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's cool. It's for me, like I'm probably a real cross section between my parents in the. I look like my dad mostly, but then there's pictures of my mum as a kid where she's got short hair, and it's like that looks like Jessie. So that's kind of funny. But my dad was better looking than me. That's the only thing I hate. Yeah, I'm a downgrade on my dad, which sucks.
Damn.
I'm bigger. Yeah, so I went to the gym a bit more, but he was a handsome fella. Hope he's not watching this. But in terms of personality, my dad's very entrepreneurial, very independent, kind of a real alpha male.
Yeah,
and I feel like I have shades of that, but I almost wonder if like he's a very conservative parent. So like when he was 24, when he was younger, he was doing like fucking dumb shit. So like drink driving was a thing back then. So he was a bit of a like hooligan in that sense.
Yeah.
At 25, he literally just, when he graduated, architecture, top of his class, so he's more academic than me as well, just like traveled the world and like would just mail his parents postcards of where he was in from a different country every week.
It takes some nuts to do that kind of stuff.
See, I'm not like that at all.
No,
I'm not. I'm like a travel to a resort like once a year. Very organised. Like I went to Europe and I literally went to 3 different places.
Yeah.
And one of them, and they were all with people. Like I would never have gone by myself.
No, for sure. I just couldn't travel younger. Like I just kept seeing it as a waste of time. Like I just had too many things that I wanted to do. Like I wanted to get my trade. I wanted to go to uni. Like I just literally couldn't I couldn't put it upon myself to take a year out of my life to just go do something like that. I would love it and I would like to do it, and traveling is definitely something on my agenda. It's just up until this point, I could never bring myself to the decision of going, fuck it, I'm taking a year off.
Yeah.
It was just like, I just could not bring myself to it. I need to get these things in line. I need to line up my ducks career-wise while I can, while I'm young.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I really respect like your path. Like it's quite different than mine. Like mine was full of expectation, and I kind of felt like I sort of breezed through it, just did what was enough to get by, and then discovered a passion later. Whereas yours, you overcame like a learning difficulty. You realize what you want. You got a trade and a degree, and now you have a job in your field at the age of 24. Like, I don't know. I really respect what you got there.
You really underestimated my age.
You're 26, aren't you?
Yeah, last podcast he called me 24, 25, and he just called me 24 then.
Yeah. I don't know why. No. I don't know why. I think I'm just so used to being around people who are younger than me.
Yeah. I mean, it was 24 when I graduated, baby.
I think I'm in denial about how old I am as well.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
I honestly think that's what it is. I don't think of you as younger than me. I mean, like maybe it's a few months, right? I don't know.
Are you late?
I'm late November, so I'm like, I'm 6
April,
months
so
older than you.
6 months,
Yeah. That is weird.
It is 6 months. Yeah.
And here you are at the age of 24.
Yeah. I wish I was at this stage at 24.
Yeah. 26, like, I don't know about how you feel. I'm scared of getting older.
Yeah, and you get at this age, you start to see
I have grey hair.
aging.
Yeah, I've got grey hair.
Your hair's a little bit thinner, and like, I'm not saying I'm balding, but like your hair gets a little bit thinner, and and things that start to pop up, and you start to see wrinkles on your forehead. And
things stop popping up, am I right?
Not yet, fuck.
No, 24. But, 26 is a bit old, 26. A bit young, fuck.
But you at this age, I feel like you start to see it, and I was saying to my mum, it really starts to hit you, like, holy fuck, I'm immortal. Like, I'm not, like,
You mean you're mortal?
Sorry.
Holy fuck, I'm immortal, mum.
That'd be dope. But, sorry, holy fuck, I'm mortal. Like, I'm not, like, it's up to this point that things start to level out. Up until this point, you're getting better and you're growing, and, like, all this stuff's happening. And then you get to this age, and then it starts to, like, plateau, and you're like, oh, like, I'm not, I know, it's funny, because, like, I know some people, and they will say, like, you ask them, like, oh, when do you think you peaked in life? And they'll say, like, oh, 19, 18. And some people really believe that they're past their peak. I am of the impression that I have still so much more to growth to go. And I think that's because I look at myself, and growth for me comes mentally. Growth for me isn't physically, because, like, I've always been above average as far as my physical attributes, as far as, like...
Yeah, athletically.
Athletically. So, like, I can run 100 meters a lot faster than what the average man can. So, like, those aren't the things that I strive to work on. The things that I strive to work on come from my mental, come from business, come from still, like, reading and writing. I work in a field where I write reports for a living, so growing on that, growing my vocabulary, like, all that stuff is my growth. So I still see my peak being far from now. But it's funny because some people believe they have peaked And I think that goes with what we're just saying in the sense that aging it starts to happen at this age. You start to notice things.
Yeah, like I said, I got my first grey hair a few months ago, and like
Spooky?
it is spooky.
Yeah.
I never thought it would be, but I am scared of getting older. I'm scared of like having my 20s bypass me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real issue for me.
Well, when I turned 26, my first sort of thought was...
You're 26? Sorry, go on.
When I turned 26, about 6 months ago, my first thought was I'm closer to 30 than I am 20. It was my first ever thought. Like I woke up and I was like, today I'm closer to 30 than I am 20, and that was a weird thought.
You know what's really important though? Just remembering how much better you have it now than when you were at uni.
Yeah.
Because while we had the free time, we were fucking broke.
Oh yeah.
Right now, we could plan it. Okay, COVID aside, we could plan a trip to Europe. You know what I mean? We can.
I spent a lot of money on the house.
Yeah. So like, whatever you want to do, you can do. We couldn't do this at 20 or whatever. And that's important to remember.
Yeah.
Because this is the best time of our lives.
Yes.
In theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's what I tell myself.
I think so as well, and I think it will only go up from here. I'm very early stages of my career as far as what I'm doing now, and my income is only going to grow from here. It's only going to get better and better and better. And once I'm licensed, it will take a serious jump, and then I think my life will be tremendously better because I'll be bringing more income. I'll have the potential to buy things like as far as like a property goes. I'll be able to start making proper sound investments with it. Yeah. At this stage, I'm still, renting and doing all those kind of things, which is cool. I like it. But I'm definitely keen for that next stage. And I'm interested to know if you have this. I'm super keen for the fatherhood stage. I'm super keen. It's not soon.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I want it now, but I am super keen and I daydream. The thing that I daydream most about these days is being married and having my kids.
See, I wanted that my whole life up until recently where it's become real. Obviously being in a 4-year relationship, the prospect of it just seems so immediate that...
See, I'm a single dude, so it's still...
It's cool.
I look at it from like I said, like a daydream perspective. But I don't know. I do generally look forward to that.
That's cool.
I'm excited for that. And I think I'll be a good dad. I think I have a good role models and people that I can model off.
Yeah.
And
be a dad like you had.
And that was another thing that I said. I forgot to mention it when I spoke to my dad at that time. That made him cry. Was I said to him, it's funny because all you wanted was to be the dad the opposite to what your dad was, and I sit here and all I want to be is exactly what you are. And that was like the big thing that hit him as well.
That would have been very touching.
So and it's true. I really do. Like, he was super loving. He was super caring. I mean, he had me on a skateboard at like 6 years old. Like I had an older brother, and my typical personality trait is like all of my family used to call me like Bull because I'm a bull at a gate, and I would just crash through things. Like I started walking and climbing super early in life. I got my training wheels off at 2 years old because I have a brother that's 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So his training was coming up at 5. And apparently I just chucked the biggest hissy fit and like wouldn't touch my bike until the training wheels were off. And I was like riding into bushes, but I was that dude. Like I was that kid. Like I got in trouble for when I was in year 1, so I was 6 years old. My mum took me to her netball training because my mum used to always play sport. Really good sportswoman. I think that's why I get a lot from my dad, but my mum...
Your mum was a good athlete.
Yeah, such a good athlete, and that's cool. that helps.
Good genetics.
But I think the big thing what happened was I was in year 1, so I was 6 years old, and she took me to the netball stadium. She was doing training. They have a little playpen for kids, and I was in there for a few other kids, and I found my way up onto the massive stadium roof. And next thing I know, these parents are freaking out. Like, there's a kid on the roof. There's a kid on the roof. Like, they call the cops. Like, all this stuff. And it's a funny story in the sense that like everyone's gone around saying like, does anyone know whose kid this is? Does anyone know whose kid this is? And someone said to my mum, like, do you know, is that Dylan? Is that your kid? And my mum looks up, and she tells this story so well, but she looks up and she sees me and notices me and goes, nah, that's not mine. And like, she was the only time in life that she's just denied that we're one of her kids. And she just saw me on the roof and just thought, holy fuck. Like, I was not scared because I'd done that thing so regularly. Like, when I was a kid, I used to kick the footy on the roof on purpose. And I would run in and I'd tell mum, like, mum, the footy's on the roof, I gotta go up. And I would like climb up on the roof. And I was just always that kid that liked I was never afraid of heights, and I always liked
that does not surprise
the
me.
danger side of thing. I just fed off that. So getting my trainings off at 2, like I was riding the bushes and I was just like crashing it, but I was just so keen on it. And my dad bought me my first skateboard when I was like, I wasn't even at school yet, so I wasn't even pre-primary or kindy, and I was riding a skateboard. Like I was just like, I was keen for it all, and having an older brother helps that because he was doing things, and I was like automatically like, he did things at a normal pace. And I was just competitive and just keen that I did, because he was 3 years older, I did things 3 years before anyone else was doing it.
Wow.
So I just went a bit nuts with it all.
So you had that competitive drive early. I had 2 older sisters way older than me, so I was kind of like the prince, you know what I mean? So I never had that drive to be the best that I could.
My parents used to try and bring me back a touch because I was too competitive.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, they should. So like before footy, because obviously you start playing footy at like 10. I used to play soccer. Mum and dad.
Did you?
Yeah.
I literally didn't know that about you.
So I was a good soccer player, only because I was fast, like much faster than other kids.
We played soccer together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
We did. And I think one game I kicked like a ridiculous amount of goals, like 4 or 5 goals. Yeah. And my parents, and it was my dad said like,
not mine.
You're not allowed to kick 5 goals.
Oh yeah.
You can kick 2 goals, and then you need to get everyone else a goal.
Yeah.
So then, like, I like they were trying to take it away and I sort of tell them, I was like, "Fuck, he should have left me. Like, I could have like maybe played for like Socceroos. Like, imagine if you just said like, you know what, Dylan, like 6 goals, you can kick 10 next time.
Yeah, yeah.
And like then they go,
that would have fired you up.
Unrealistic, but that's just like my mind just thinks that way. I just think like fuck, maybe I could have played Socceroos. Like, and it's like it's unlikely, but it's just it's the way things go. It's how I am. But yeah, super competitive from a young age. I just had it in me. Like, had to do the same things that my brother was doing. If his mates are doing something, I had to be involved. Like I just had to. Yeah, it's just part of my DNA.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, can't relate to that. Well, Dill, I think we've gone on for a while and in a good way, but I don't want to also take up all the content for future pods. I feel like we've touched on a few topics there. We can go on like next episode, like the fear of getting older. I feel like that's kind of cool.
That's rough.
Good times. Why don't we just circle back to the original topic? Let's just, because we waffled, including myself, obviously. Yep. How you want to be remembered. If you had to sum it up in a few words, in a short, concise, like couple of sentences, how would you round it off?
So, given that I live a full life, a long life,
I should hope so.
I would say, first of all, family man. I'd like to be remembered similar to my dad. I feel like whenever my dad goes, I hope it's not for a while. I feel like the first thing we're going to say is that he was a family man, like family first. I would like to imagine that. I'd like my kids to say the same things that I say about my dad. And then I just think like kind, passionate. I love my competitiveness, so I would hope people would remember how competitive I was. And just a funny, good dude, like fun to be around. People were happy when I was in a room.
Yeah.
I think that's the main things.
That's it, man. Well, I think you're all of that.
Thank you.
More.
I appreciate it.
For me, I would say sort of what I touched on before about being compassionate and someone people like being around. I think like that is an important thing for me.
It is.
I don't care about being perceived as someone who's like really intelligent or successful or smart. I actually do not give a shit about whether someone thinks I'm smart. If anything, I like to be underrated so that I smash the expectations.
Yes.
No, but honestly, my value set is just different. Something like my mum was an extremely compassionate, caring person, the sort of person who would just reach out to people on Facebook. Like there were people, like when she died, like at the risk of going down a massive tangent, but I'll touch on this. When she died, the amount of people that didn't know her in person, that were just friends with her on Facebook, that came out with like heartfelt messages and said, Debbie helped me through a tough time.
Yeah.
She reached out to me, or I reached out to her, or whatever it was, when I was like about to kill myself. Like that actually happened. So like since that happened, I've really tried to try and embody that and be like her. Like my sisters are like her. Yeah. And I try hard to be like that, even though it's not really in my nature. Yeah. And just being a kind and good person. And I'm very harsh on myself when I find myself not being a good person. And there are times, especially recently, where I've found myself slipping. And then that will actually take its toll on like my mental health and stuff like that, more so than, you know, an actual failure in like my career or, you know, whatever. So,
well, I mean, to touch on all that, I definitely appreciate the way that your mother was, like hearing you talk, and you can just tell when someone's like a nice person, and the response that she got to her death was overwhelming, I'm sure, to you and your family, and deservedly so. I mean, It's hard to say, but I'm sort of like a religious, not really as much, but a spiritual person. And I when it happened, I did pray for your mum, and I prayed for you. And I remember I made you pray one time. We were like, yeah, there was a lot of beers down, and we were sort of talking about it. And I said, like, can we just do it? Can we do a prayer right now? And so we did that, and it was it was funny thinking about it, but I like to believe that there's that side to life, that there is some sort of spirit behind it all. But I think you are that person. Like, if I was going to describe you, I would first bring up your intelligence. I think you underrate yourself as far as your intelligence goes. But I think funny, light up a room, and I think compassionate all come to mind very easily. Like, I could write you down as those attributes easy without a second thought. So it's good that that's what you want to be, because that is the person that you embody, and we all slip up. It's standard, it's life. That it is what it is, and I think I literally said this in the last podcast. It's all about the bounce back. Like, you find yourself slipping, if it takes you that slip to then bounce it back, like, that's still a feather in your cap. That still attributes to the person that you are. So kudos to you.
Fuck, you're gay. I'm just kidding. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Let's take an immature turn just to break up the tension. We did, right before, on a whim, I put up an Insta story to people who listen to the pod to ask us questions about anything. So we got some fucking dumb responses, but let's go through them. Let me fire it up. Where the fuck is
I got my favourite.
Yeah, there is it. Yeah, which I totally misunderstood. Oh, wow. Okay, there's a couple of new ones. All right, sweet. Let's rattle through them. Okay, Elijah Colliver. Is that a friend of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Great dude, by the way. Just had his first baby. A little girl. Gorgeous. Shout out to him. He's a really good dude.
Yeah. Cool. Good on you. Thanks for getting around the podcast and channel. He says foreskin or no foreskin.
This is a big debate in our friend group.
Wait, is he asking us what we have or what do we prefer?
Yeah, no, he's asking what we have.
I'm a foreskin man.
Yeah. Why chop the dick off? Like,
I don't think that's what it is.
Any portion of the cock should stay on the
penis.
cock. Like, don't chop anything off.
Yeah.
That's classic. He brought that up.
Girls do prefer it.
Apparently, but man, no, I don't know. Like, when your dick's hard, like, my skin's not up there anyway. Like,
You do get those people who are a bit of a 5 skin, so like excess skin.
Which I'm not, luckily.
No, thankfully. Thank God, am I right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Elijah, for that contribution. Blaze, YouTube, says, if you could have anyone on the podcast, who would it be? So let's assume it's this one. Yeah, that's a good question, particularly for you, because I've answered this question before.
I like this because I also love the question of you could have anyone to dinner, who would you have? And this sort of relates.
This would be almost the same thing.
I mean, I'm going to go straight unrealistic because I feel like that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
I would go LeBron James.
Yeah?
I want, best player of all time, even better off the court, like, amazing man. Like, I would love to have a conversation with him, whether it's recorded or not.
Yeah. Cool. Mine would be Luke Shuey.
Dope.
So I just have he's like a weird inspiration of mine, or True Geordie, the YouTuber.
Dope.
Yeah.
Good answer.
So between those two, those are my
True
two.
Geordie would be a ripper podcast. Imagine having him.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Real UCat says, is it pronounced Coulworld podcast, and why did you spell it like that? Well, I can smash this one because the battery's starting to run out of my camera. It is pronounced Coulworld, and your last name is Coulthard.
Yeah. So Coulthard. Like I said, it was my original idea that I got Jesse to jump on. So it's weird because I say Coulthard, so I pronounce it Coulworld.
You do, don't you?
And it came off because my Instagram name is Real Coulworld, and
so I've been saying it wrong.
That copies off J Cole. So J Cole is Real Coulworld, spelled Cole. My Instagram name is Real Coulworld, spelled Coul. So Real Coulworld.
It's real deep.
It's literally whatever you like.
Nah, it's good. Backyard Charizard, have you ever been approached by a bloke in a more than mates kind of way?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yeah, me too. I reckon I'm more popular with gay men than I am with women.
Interesting.
I'm not that popular with women. I reckon gay men think I am turnable because I'm not super masculine and I'm friendly.
It's hard to say because you're 6'3" and like you're
and well hung.
Yeah. No, well, I wasn't. I was actually like you're a decent size.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think I'm just very friendly and not very masculine. I do think people could see why they think I'm like a chance to be gay.
Yeah. I've definitely had both sides try.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've never had a mate who's gay.
No.
A mate who's gay that's tried it on.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that went down awkwardly.
Who went down?
No, the situation.
Yeah. I actually know exactly what you're referring to. But
Definitely.
That's like somebody else's privacy. I don't want to. Go into that. But yeah, no, awkward, hey?
Yeah, not good. Not good. Not fun.
Oh, it wasn't good. Oh, okay.
No.
You're a deserted island with this is Bo is God, with a mermaid companion, top half or bottom half fish.
Oh, it's got to go bottom half, surely. What, you got a fish with human legs?
It's the vagina, but that is a I think it's like to have sex with. Well, you want a fish?
I thought you meant like literally a fish with human legs or the mermaid with a.
Nah,
I don't know what you're
I would go top half human. Yeah, you need to have someone to talk to, and it's called.
So are we talking about a fish with human legs then?
No, the opposite. I'm saying the opposite.
Yeah, but the
opposite is a fish with human legs. Yeah.
Oh, that's just weird. I don't want that.
Yeah, who would? Yeah. Imagine fucking
traditional mermaid. Like,
imagine fucking a fish with human legs.
I don't know if you could.
Yeah, I would hate that. Yeah, I mean I would, but Dempsteezy, do you have butts?
Yeah.
So when I first read this question, I thought, do you have buttocks?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, obviously.
It's a term that we use. It must be a Gelton thing. It means small penis.
So the answer is yes. Which city or cities around the world would you want to move to permanently?
Oh, that's a good one.
I think the only place I really want to move to, and I'm very unadventurous, again, not like my dad. My dad lived in Bangkok and Abu Dhabi with his family. I would move to London. That's probably about it.
Yeah, I mean, London's realistic for me because my work has an office there, so I could transfer. But City of Angels, LA, baby. That's
cool.
Yeah,
I can
California,
fuck with that.
I'd have to go there.
I can fuck with that. Matty Pollock says, if you could live in one suburb in Perth, where would it be? I know your answer.
I love Scarborough. I really like Scarborough. It's annoyingly far from the city, but I like the vibes.
I like a spaced out kind of nice environment, and I like to stay where I'm already close to. I would say Applecross.
Dope.
Yeah. Nice.
Gorgeous area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bit of Footy says, what's a good way to stay busy as a Victorian in lockdown? So Bit of Footy is an AFL YouTuber up and coming.
Dope.
Put out some decent content lately. He's grinding hard. Really respect what you've done. Also contributed a fair bit of money to the channel.
Good man. Shout out to you.
Yeah, so he's a good lad.
First off the back, I'm just going to say music. Whether it's songwriting, guitar, like pick up a music instrument, learn it. To learn a guitar takes a long time. I mean, you picked it up not recently, but within the later years of your life. 23. I started guitar when I was like year 7. But even still, like if I was in lockdown, I can write songs, I can do all that stuff. So that would be mine.
I would just add to that and just say a creative pursuit. So content for YouTube, like this young fella's putting out way more content than I am. Very consistent.
Dope.
Keep going.
Artwork.
Just find something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like pulling from the creative side of the brain, I feel like it's definitely healthy. So I would, if I could influence, I would say do something that's passionate but creative.
100%. And that can be hard to find for some people, but I would definitely recommend looking into it. Cool. We are powering through this because the battery's about to run out, but I think that was a really good pod.
Yeah.
And
I didn't nervous sweat this time, which was weird.
Yeah. We seemed very composed. I think it was the couple of beers we had and we got real deep.
Yeah. That's standard for us though. We can't lie about that.
Yeah.
That happens very regularly.
Yeah, even just at breakfast.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, a bit of Vegemite toast gets me in the mood for some DMMs.
It does. It's hot. Yeah. Cool, man. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully we'll be on iTunes and Spotify soon. Still need to sort that out.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Thanks for all the support on the channel. And remember to go to manscaped.com. And if you want a pubic razor or blade, they have premium products, 20% off with the code TrueFooty.
2020, look after your junk. Women like it. You can use it on your chest. You can use it wherever.
Surely most people manscape, right?
You'd have to. You'd think so.
I've been doing it since I was 18.
I feel like we're in an age where it's odd if you don't.
It's 2020.
Yeah.
Get
around it. Girls like it. And it's good for you. Actually, I think having a bush is better for you. Like
not having a bush.
Having a bush is like biologically better for you. But I think it like protects you from whatever. But
bears.
Yeah. They smell the menstruation. That's off Anchorman. Anyway.
Okay. All right, cool.
Podcast number 2. We're rambling and we have rambled for this entire time. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, that was your first. That was so cute.
That's so YouTubey. But like, comment, subscribe. Serious about the comments. Let us know what you like, don't like. we're trying to make these conversations as organic as possible, but we also understand this is entertainment. So do what you got to do. Let us know.
Proud of you.